All right, everyone. Trump has still not filled some of the appointments that he can make within some of the federal agencies and bureaus out there. And this is something that people criticized for a while. They're like, well, he's so inefficient and ineffectual, he can't even fill this role within some sub-bureau or some agency that has some purpose. We're not really sure what that purpose is half the time, but we're sure that it's important because it was put in there to begin with. And naturally, the country hasn't fallen apart. The economy hasn't fallen apart. Well, what would you think about that? See, these are non-essential roles, essentially, which is funny there. These agencies are not required for our country to exist. They are not required for our economy to function. They're not required for people to have the rudiments of safety and infrastructure. They are worthless. These roles shouldn't be filled because those agencies shouldn't even exist. They should all be completely done away with, and whatever the savings from that should be used for tax relief or to pay off, I don't know, everyone's always talking about single payer free, trademark Bernie Sanders 2016, free shit, yo, like free college. Yeah, you probably get a good start on that if you axed all those positions. Trump should even go further. Should be talking about dismantling some of the bureaus and agencies altogether. Not just, fail to fill an appointment or two so that, as people trickle out, is there anyone necessarily even to hire new people if there's no head of an agency? Like, if the agency doesn't have someone to lead it, and one of the higher managers leaves, who actually is responsible for okaying the hiring of a new one? Those agencies will slowly wither away and become less efficient because they're not necessary anyway, and will collapse. And good on Trump for actually doing that. Then they won't need a budget. And they'll still exist, it's just that they won't actually do anything or have any employees. That's the way to do it. In fact, failing to appoint people that are within his power to appoint is probably the easiest way that Trump can slowly rip apart the bureaucracy. Because, again, because everything's so bureaucratic, because everything's so legalistic, there won't be anyone to hire any of the managers within the agency and it collapses. So actually, that's good on him. But I would go further. I would get rid of people in the heads of all sorts of other agencies too. The Department of Education, who really needs it? The states can handle education. We were number one in education when the states were mostly handling it. Federal government got involved. Oh, we need to standardize things because reasons. That didn't even have anything to do, by the way, with segregation. Some people bring up that bullshit lie over and over. Oh, we need to fix the standards here because we're afraid some people are being left behind. And of course, the standards were so watered down because of lobbying efforts by shitty schools that all the good schools suffered, and now they had shittier standards. Like, they could have had higher standards. No, you can't do that. And so they got muzzled. So we have No Child Left, and we have Common Crap, and we have every other crappy federal program on this token. Just get rid of the Department of Education. Problem solved. Federal government doesn't really need to be involved with that unless there's something systemically terribly wrong it can address through some other method. What about the EPA? Oh yeah, just ignore that time that we poisoned the whole Animas River. And then we had oil trucks that we didn't even clean out. We brought in a bunch of dirty water for all the Native Americans that are reliant upon that water source. Well, fuck them, because it's the EPA. Sorry we flooded it with arsenic and cadmium and everything else, and turned the entire river like bright yellow. It's okay, because we're the EPA. See, these groups get away with doing things. Any private business that did something like that would be so ass-blasted in a legal sense. They would be so sued, the class action, they would go out of business. The problem is the EPA is monopolistic within its specific sort of a function, and so there's no actual way to simply do what we should do, which is completely get rid of them and never bring them back. Now, I wouldn't even revive most of these bureaus. If I were Trump, I would fail to appoint a hell of a lot more people than he's failed to appoint. We're talking most of the agencies would shrink, and there are a handful that wouldn't. Unfortunately for them, most of those that wouldn't shrink would be done away with altogether. The handful remaining would be compacted. For instance, the NSA is not necessary, but it does perform a few necessary functions. Give them to the FBI. The FBI is better at constraining itself to the law anyway than the NSA has been. The NSA instead of having a copy of the Constitution somewhere in their offices, they have little text that says, oh, fuck the Constitution. We don't need to listen to that because we're holier than anybody else. We're empowered by some bullshit legalese. Just get rid of it. Its few remaining functions, roll up with the FBI, send a few NSA agents into it to make up the difference, and you're golden. You know, you can call it a day. You've just saved hundreds of millions of dollars. What a wonderful thing we could do. How wonderful would that be? You'd probably slash the tax rate by a good 50% in this country, if not for all the legalism. If not for all the bureaus and inefficiencies, I don't know why we pay for them anyway. It makes things less efficient. What's the fucking point? It makes things take longer. You get a shittier result, usually a more costly result. Okay, why exactly are we doing this? We would be better off, the government would be better off taking a bunch of that money, just taking bundles of cash, sitting on top of a building and throwing it out the window to the crowd below. Hey, go buy a burger or something. Stimulate the local economy. It'd probably be better for our economy if the fucking government did that. Unfortunately, everything's so legalistic. See, the problem is we have too many lawyers. We have too many lawyers and corporatists within politics. We should ban them all from DC proper. They shouldn't even be able to meet with the politicians. Someone's been a lawyer, they shouldn't be running for office anyway, especially a corporate lawyer. I say that half jokingly. Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't expect someone who's like an axe murderer. We wouldn't vote for them. Why are we voting for a corporate lawyer? They probably killed more people than an axe murderer through their decisions. What exactly is the point of having them in office? So good on Trump. He needs to go further. He needs to just start ripping a few of these bureaus apart entirely. He did campaign on this. This is a great start. It has the same basic effect, but it's slower. It could take years to empty out even a small agency with this method. It just happens to be a fairly decent start. That's about all. Peace out.